Welcome back everybody. So today's video is not actually going to be scripted like my other ones, and it's because I spent hours on the graph that you're going to be seeing soon. And yeah, I couldn't be bothered to script on top of that as well, but hopefully you still enjoy it. I've also set up a Patreon, which isn't something I was initially planning on doing, but at the minute, I don't know what it is, but bills and expenses just seem to be piling up on top of each other, and until this account gets monetized, I will be using Patreon to upload videos early, to launch polls, and some other good stuff. It's only £3, $3. It's the same for some reason in each currency, so not very expensive, only one tier, so please look into that if you wish. So as you've seen in the title, today's video is all about Disney characters and how they're supposedly fat-phobic. This is a post that I saw on Fat Logic, which is where I get most of the things I talk about from. This post is claiming that too many villains are fat and too many heroines or princesses in this case are thin, which is of course fat phobia of the highest order. So what did I do about this? Well, I made a graph. I had to represent this statistically and numerically to debunk the claim. Okay, so as you can see, there's literally no correlation between body weight and goodness or evilness. All I can see is that there's just no moral ambiguity here. You're either good or you're bad. I've also put in a few weight categories, which is probably going to piss off the fat activist crowd quite a lot if they watch this. And a few different body types, because, for example, Shan Yu is quite big. He's built like a fucking mountain, but he's really muscular. He's not fat. But then you also see people like Yzma and Scar and Cruella, and they're just exceptionally thin. I've also added on the fact that some of the women from this section may actually appear thinner than they are because they're corseted. A lot of the dresses that they wear do accentuate the shoulders and the hips, which was common at the time because, hey, if you didn't know this, right, you're not going to believe it. A lot of Disney movies set in ancient castles with princes and knights and princesses are set in the past. People used to wear different clothes in the past. Also, another thing that completely gets me every time is the fact that fat activists love to cling to the character of Ursula for some reason. If you look here, the human incarnation of her is evil too, even though she's thin. And also, Ursula's based off the drag performer Divine from Pink Flamingos, or that's what I've heard at least. Ursula is not even a human being. A lot of the characters, I'm sure you'll notice here, a lot of these characters in the extremes are not even human beings. The Beast is the Beast. You've got Hades, another Greek god. You have Ursula, who's a fucking mermaid squid octopus thing. You've got Oogie Boogie, who's like a mummy. You've got a Cheshire Cat. You've got Scar the Lion. You've got Prince John the Lion. Cyanam the Cat. Jack Skellington the Skeleton. Like, I could go on, but there are so many characters here. And, like, Maui's a demigod. They all have different body types, but I never see anyone talking about that. There are also quite a number of different types you can see here. Like, for example, Maui's big, but he's also strong. But then you have someone like Aladdin who is quite thin, but he's also muscular. So it's not like there isn't a range. You also have characters like Nani and Moana and Sally who are not like ridiculously skinny as the others seem to claim. And I forgot to put Esmeralda on here. She's also not ridiculously fat. You also have characters such as Quasimodo, who are main characters. They're there on their own merits of personality, and they're not just there so people can look at them and think, wow, that person's stunning. Because, of course, there's more to life than just being attractive, which I thought was kind of one of the main tenets of body positivity. They also just don't seem to understand the fact that cartoons are not real life, that people don't look like that, and that they're very heavily stylized, especially when they're made for kids, because if everyone looked just like a normal fucking person, no one would really pay attention too much to the art style or anything, and if you spend years painstakingly hand drawing a film frame by frame, you're going to want the characters to be memorable. There's also the fact that, and I don't want this to seem like too evil. I'm just kind of saying it the way that it is. But if you did have a £600 Disney princess, unless the prince is a feeder, I don't think he's climbing up that tower to save her. First of all, the idea that women need to be saved by a prince that happens in so many of these films, that is problematic. They're not talking about that. Like, they complain that too many side characters are fat but not main characters. Well, the film is nothing without the side characters. Like, can you imagine how boring Snow White would be without the seven dwarfs? But yeah, as I was saying, if you had a £600 Disney princess, if you portrayed them as being fully able-bodied, you'd then be called an ableist by the millions of fat activists who claim to be severely disabled because of their fatness. If you didn't show that they're the most oppressed people in the world, you'd then also be fatphobic bigot who's ignoring their struggles. But then if you showed them as being disabled and having things like lymphedema or skin infections or reduced mobility, you would be then seen as demonizing fat people and saying that fatness is inherently unhealthy. So either way, I don't think you can win. But a large part of this is as well, if you're meant to relate to this character, and this is for kids, I think a film where a fat woman is trapped in a tower and she can't move anymore because she's too fat, or she can't fit in, I don't know, a carriage, because of course it's the past. If she can't fit into a horse drawn carriage because she's too fat, who is going to watch that and feel inspired or empowered? A lot of, especially if you watch a show like £600 Life, the amount of people on there who have got some kind of trauma, especially sexual trauma from their childhood, the amount of people with mental health issues, with broken families. Fatness is often a symptom of something else and is not just something inherent. And if you don't address that, then you're not going to be able to address your obesity. So, again, if you show someone who is suffering quite that much for whatever reason, whatever they're fat, if they stay fat, if you're just showing that and showing, oh, everything turns out fine, what's inspiring about someone not addressing their problems and just carrying on? What about that is meant to make me feel hopeful or good about my life or my future? A lot of these characters, they change, they have an arc, but then again, I think if you showed a character having a weight loss arc, or an arc where they address their emotional or trauma issues and then lost weight as a result of not emotional eating anymore, that would be seen as very fat phobic. I mean, I don't even really know where I'm going with this, but at the end of the day, like, it's obvious this is a children's cartoon. They are not going to have morally ambiguous characters. They're not going to have crazy plots that are so. It's not going to be like fucking Line of Duty, right? Where the whole thing is so interwoven and complex and every character's doing bad things but for different reasons. It's a children's film. They're going to have a good character and an evil character. Why does it matter what they look like? As you can see on this goddamn graph, there is so much variation in size and body type. It is not correlated to being good or evil whatsoever. So, like, genuinely, I don't see what the point is here. Do they want a fat princess with lymphedema, mobility issues, friggin', I don't know, gallstones, who is then being fed by some creepy fetishy prince? How big would they want to go? Because, of course, body positivity started saying anybody can be body positive. And now it's kind of like, oh no, you're too thin for body positivity. You're too thin, you can't be body positive. You're not fat enough. So, like, even when they win, they can't win. They never get what they want, even when they get what they want. They're always shifting the goalposts. So I think even if you did have a fat Disney princess, they'd be like, oh my god, she's not fat enough. Or they'd be having a go like they do with Tess Holiday. They'd be saying, oh, well, her body type is far too similar to a curvy, desirable body type. She doesn't represent fat people well enough. Either way, whatever you get, they're going to whinge. They're going to whinge and complain. Either way. Like, it genuinely doesn't matter. You could get a fat prince, and then they'd whinge about that too. They're like, why not a fat woman? Why can't the princess be fat? They're gonna complain about everything. Like, I cannot get that across enough. They're gonna whinge and moan about absolutely everything that they can. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. It's been a shambolic mess. I didn't want to do like a proper full length video whatsoever. I just wanted to do this for fun, just because I don't know, I just wanted to. I've just wanted to do this for the last couple of days. And as you can see, this channel is an absolute mess without a script. So I will not be doing very many of these. I might do some live streams. I don't know. But again, I don't like nag anyone or pressure anyone. But I do have a Patreon in my bio. So I guess donate to that if you want to. But yeah, thanks for watching. And of course, comment. Do we need any more fat villains? Do we need any fat princesses? Anyway,